In January of 2021, we got the first initial reveal of a new reboot and that the OverDress era of Vanguard would begin in May. Many players and myself were sad to see another reboot, but excited for new speculations of what was to come as Bushiroad continued to support its staple card game. We found out that our favorite clans had been homogenized to nations, and that we would see different styles of cards reflect what used to be clans, seeing necromancers next to bugs, robots next to aliens, and dragons next to mecha dragons? We got 6 new nations: Dragon Empire, Keter Sanctuary, Stoicheia, Dark States, Brantgate, and what happened to Bermuda? Oh my god, they got their own nation in Lyrical Monasterio. You know what? I'd probably kill myself if Bermuda got mid-battle phase drop zone recursion anyway. Anywho, the introduction of the ride deck allowed players to kiss G-assisting goodbye and allow for finally some ride consistency, which would change the Vanguard landscape as a whole. Now in the standard format, only one copy of a ride target was required, and you were guaranteed to hit it just by discarding a card. Persona riding replaced the one-sided nature of the previous imaginary gift support from V, and the art design definitely hit a new style. They promised only new units, and that nostalgia baiting was over. The new format would be cheap with start decks starting at $5, and SPs were guaranteed in every box. While so much was being added to the hype and built, we hit our first roadblock in mid-January, when a funny little card with a small little percentage chance of being checked. Okay, you already know where I'm going with this. Overtriggers. I'm not sure at Bushiroad if they knew how to count, but I'm pretty sure that the 200k Dimension Police can reach in premium doesn't beat 100 freaking million, but my math may be just a little off. The additional effect of when checked offensively seemed niche, but giving another 100 million seemed fine. Until we got shown that each nation gets a specific OT. Yes, Elder Breath, I'm looking at you. The resulting fact began to immediately have implications into premium, as anyone playing Dimension Police had a legit "you're dead" card, you can't live 8 damage, and every Dragon Empire said had the ability to become Dragonic Overlord, so Nuadayo said 16 attacks, and Keter said screw it, 100 million for everyone. The latter ended up being affected in the October ban list, was choice restricted Ultima in the OT, and subsequent other decks were hit in the format. Not others so much as that the offensive output of an OT was an issue, but how tempo swinging a defensive OT is and just saying, yo, I just heritaged you, my boy. But that's it for the OT rant. While it's a fun, definitely funny way for a tabletop casual game to beat a funny 2 to pass, the Eternal formats definitely saw some issues. However, the Eternal formats also were brought new toys to play with, as D-Series bosses immediately started going into premium decks, as the first one that comes to mind is Barrow Magnus in the NLK. Then, Order Colony plagued in a format with the dragon that could read and say, yeah, 20k power to the front row, draw 4 cards to start the turn, then I'ma lock you out with the queen herself. Which brought a new crossroads to premium, as Vanguardians and other places of discussions were split on whether to ban the new card or Gridora herself. Eventually, it was decided in June of 2022 that Ruination Dragon went to ruin, and thus everything returned to semi-normal. Then the rolling out of standard product continued. D-Series Set 4 continued to change as main decks got access to grade 4s with triple drives, and Bushiroad continued to spice up the format by adding new ride lines to different nations. While also going back on their word of nostalgia baiting, as Overlord and Phantom Blaster Dragon were brought back in Set 2, and they continued introducing more encounter cards, at the end, Phantom Blaster Overlord and MLB, while adding a new glitter mechanic to the format. For the first time ever, Vanguard had multicolor cards that were not Cray Elemental. These cards were splashed into a multitude of decks, for example, as Magnolia could have used Maple from Thegria, and other decks would too. While DMP continued to be main focuses, we shouldn't forget about V Premium, as it was just kind of sitting in the middle. Sure, the format was getting new boss cards through Clan Collection, but these sets helped out Premium more if anything, as all these meta-dominant decks from the later half of V Series, such as Twinkle Melody with Prisms and Divine Lightning Radiance with Gurgit, Vanquisher, and Gavriel, continue to have a chokehold on the format. Ban lists were the only thing to shake up the format, and to this day, V has almost now gone up for a year without support, leaving many to believe that the format will reach the end of its lifetime at the end of the year. D-Series from Set 4 all the way into the new 3 ride lines of Youthberg, Leonord, and Drajuld propelled the format into a new territory the secondary market hadn't seen before, and for the first time, cards in Standard were holding over $40 in value. The first 2 being Brainwash Swirler and Inlet Pulse, which finally had people to believe that, hey, Vanguard's the real deal, and maybe our card game has gotten bigger than we think. As although this was unfortunately compiled due to the economic problems facing the United States, and the short printing of product, and people not really just opening as much. As for the set 7, as we see on this trend has continued, Youthberg Tempest is $71 at the time of this recording. However, currently I can't help but have a sour taste in my mouth, as Bushiroad once nostalgia baits again and brings back Strides, which I'm hyped for. I love Premium. Then introduced Crest, which I nearly vomited after reading, not so hyped for, meaning that the old Chronojet and Messiah bosses from G would even scale beyond Persona writing, which was the main factor of being able to kill in Standard, since shield on normal units is only 5k, and giving a free 10k to your front row really screws up guard numbers. This led to Chronojet both dominating in Japan and the United States, and unfortunately the promo problem has still plagued the West, as decks are having trouble catching up to the Jetman himself. D-Series definitely has grown on me. I wasn't a fan at the beginning, but now as more sets come around and diversity has definitely had this game now grow for the past 2 years. It's a fun and intricate way of building decks, and special units allow players to either identify with their older Vanguard favorites or begin new adventures with new mechanics. OverDress arguably brought us the best Vanguard anime to date. The secondary market has expense, but more importantly attention, which had old players from G and previous eras come back to the game. I can confidently say while OverDress has revitalized its loyal TCG fanbase and brought new players in, the damage has also been brought along with it. I hope that Bushiroad takes careful design and steers away from the crests and the overtrigger based mechanics and increased defensive options inside the format which can be applied to Premium. So far, OT counter cards have been revealed, and brilliant dual format staples such as Elementaria Sanctitude has brought a good value back to the game. I'm hopeful Vanguard will reach its 15-year anniversary and that I can continue playing a beloved card game of mine with some of my best friends. If you enjoyed this type of content, please support me by shopping with Kingslayer cards and using the promo code SCHOLAR and save 5% off your pre-orders. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week. I love you all, and take care.